In this video, I'll walk you through my DIY wall-mounted solar installation. I'll share my experience with the installation, the kit, the mounting equipment, and since I've already owned it for 18 months, I'll share my best insights into how it has fared so far, how much energy it produces, and more importantly, would I recommend it? Okay, let's dig in. Okay, let's start with why I installed solar panels on my wall. This was my first solar installation. As a DIYer with only theoretical knowledge of solar, I didn't want to risk damaging my roof. Also, the weight absorption. When mounting on a wall, each panel weighs around 20 kilos. Adding the equipment and fixings wouldn't exceed a 30 kilo load per panel. So when fixing that over the entire surface of the wall is more than capable of carrying that weight in all sorts of conditions. And contrasting that to roof installations, this was a much safer step to go with a DIY installation. To strengthen the case for the wall, I have a nice southwest facing wall on a newly built extension of the house that gets lots of sun in the later hours of the day. Also, I am very confident with drilling walls, fixing items to the walls, and I've done lots of that in my other DIY projects. Therefore, I went with the wall. Okay, preparation and kit. In my kit, I purchased 430 watt panels and a 3.6 kilowatt hybrid inverter with a battery. Yes, a lot of what I bought is probably excessive for the small installation that I started with, but I knew that I would want to expand later on, and that's why I went with more than I needed. Also, I wanted to learn more about solar and how things work. Let's talk about the mounting kit. I recommend using the Unistrut rails in a combination with fasten sole clamps. The M8 nuts on the Unistrut are perfect for the fasten sole M8 bolts. A remarkable feature on the Unistrut rail is that it's got grooves that grip the nuts very tightly when fastened, and that prevents vertical slippage when things are mounted vertically on walls or anything else. By the way, these Unistrut rails are used for various other applications, and they have a lot of actual industrial applications for mounting items on them vertically, gripping them tightly, so they're perfect for this situation. Finding out that I could couple them with the M8 nut was an amazing discovery, and so far it has been holding up really well. So this is the Unistrut channel, and as you can see, there is the 40mm one, and this is the fasten sole middle clamp. Okay, the normal nut of this clamp looks like this, so I've taken out from another one. As you can see, it's quite flat, and it is quite nice and smooth. But the important bit is it just wouldn't fit around here. As you can see, it just goes nicely. And if I make it clip on this side, there's a proper gap in here, so it just moves freely around it. So the solution is to use the Unistrut nut. So this is a standard Unistrut nut. It's sold all over the place, and they have them with different sizes. So this is the M8. What I did is I just removed the nut of that clamp and replaced it with, on the same bolt, you can replace it with a Unistrut nut, and it's really tight and secure. Now the other interesting thing is that you have to watch this distance here, because as you can see, there's not much that you can work with, and yeah, by the time it tightens up, it has some space underneath, but it's not a lot. Okay, at this point I have to say that I also tested fixing the solar panel to aluminium rails on the wall, but what I noticed is that the aluminium rails started warping a little bit. So I was more cautious with this decision, and I went with the Unistrut over the aluminium rail. Okay, how did I put the panels up? It's at least two-person job. I don't think a single person on their own would have an easy time putting them up together. So in my case, there were two people involved. It was myself and another person who did it. And we mainly used ladders and ropes at the first installation that we did. But I have to admit that it wasn't so great, and it wasn't very easy. The weather wasn't with us either, so it felt a bit disheartening at times. After researching a little bit and having some more experience, I would recommend hiring a personal tower for this job. It will make it much easier compared to the ladders that we used, so stay safe. How much are my panels producing? A decent amount, but not as effective as a comparable roof installation in a similar geographical area. In my particular case, a few trees cast shadows in the autumn and spring months, so the numbers will be very much a worst case scenario. In the first year, my 1700 kilowatt peak installation produced 1 megawatt hour of energy, or basically 1000 kilowatts of energy. On a good day, it produces around 8, but in the winter, it barely goes over 1. Although this is because I have limited the export to 0, and it's all about how much my home can consume or how much can my battery charge. Let's talk about the benefits of the wall-mounted solar installation. It generates solar power from underutilized surfaces. Our homes have a limited number of places to install solar panels. If there's a suitable wall, it could be an excellent opportunity to expand or to start like I did. Also, self-cleaning. My panels are pristine year-round. In fact, I use jet black panels that sit tightly close to the wall, to each other and to the wall, and at a certain angle they look really sleek on the wall. Let's talk about the negatives of the wall-mounted solar installation. Lower production, especially in the low light conditions like overcast days. To my findings, panels still produce some energy from dispersed light, even when they are not in the sun. On overcast days in the summer, my vertical panels produce less energy than panels facing the sky. Let's talk about issues with neighbors complaining about their view. Hopefully you would have consulted them and everything would be fine, but if it comes to this, in most places this would be permitted development unless it's a listed building, but definitely check with your building regulations and consult specialists on the topic. Let's talk about my recommendation and would I do it again? Yes, I will. Although my solar generation is far from perfect, I still feel that having that wall and not utilizing it for generation would have been a miss. Okay, let's wrap it up and share some final thoughts. I'm a strong advocate for alternatives to the roof DIY for solar. Our properties have so many easy to access places like sheds, garages and pergolas or anything else. So find them out, put some panels on them, generate electricity and have fun out there.